very single day, a silent war rages inside you. It's not a war between good and evil, nor between success and failure. It's between comfort and calling. On one side stands your comfort zone, whispering, "Relax. You deserve a break." On the other stands your higher purpose, commanding, "Rise. You were made for more." Discipline is born the moment you choose your calling over your comfort. Most people never win this war because they misunderstand what discipline truly is. They think it's punishment. They think it's restriction. But discipline is the highest form of self-love. It's the act of protecting your peace and your purpose from the chaos of distraction. It's the decision to respect your potential enough to act on it, even when you don't feel like it. Comfort will always sound kind. It will always sound reasonable. It will say, "You've done enough for today." It will say, "You can start tomorrow." But tomorrow is the lie that kills dreams. Every great success story began with someone who decided that today was the only time that mattered. They chose to show up when it was hardest to. They forced themselves to do what needed to be done, not because they felt ready, but because they refused to betray their vision. You see, the person who waits for motivation will always be a servant to emotion. But the person who builds discipline becomes a master of life. Discipline doesn't depend on how you feel. It depends on what you've decided. It's the power to act despite feelings, despite fear, despite fatigue. That's why the disciplined are so rare, because most people are prisoners of their moods. If you want to force yourself to stay disciplined, start by understanding this. Every excuse you make is a brick in the wall between you and your destiny. Every time you say, "I'll do it later," you surrender a piece of your peace, because undisciplined people live in chaos, always running, always behind, always anxious. Discipline, on the other hand, brings calm. It brings order. It brings clarity. There is nothing more peaceful than knowing you did what you said you would do. That's real freedom. When you become the kind of person who can trust yourself, life starts to trust you back. Doors open, people respect you, opportunities appear, not because of luck, but because of your consistency. The universe rewards order. And here's a truth few will tell you. Discipline isn't about doing everything. It's about doing what matters. Protect your time like treasure. Protect your focus like a sacred flame. When you guard your energy, you guard your future. Don't let everyone and everything have access to your peace. Not every battle deserves your attention. Not every invitation deserves your presence. You must learn to say no without guilt and yes with conviction. The moment you start prioritizing peace over pleasure, your whole life transforms. Comfort destroys more dreams than failure ever could. Every time you take the easy route, you trade what you want most for what you want now. But every time you act with discipline, you earn back a piece of your destiny. So the next time you hear that inner voice tempting you to delay, pause and remember this: your future self is watching. Will you make them proud or make them disappointed? The choice is yours. The battle between comfort and calling is fought every day. Victory belongs to the one who shows up, tired, afraid, uninspired, but still willing. Because discipline is not about perfection, it's about persistence. And in the end, when the dust settles and the noise fades, peace will belong to the one who stayed disciplined enough to protect it. You will never conquer inconsistency until you understand this truth: emotions are temporary, but systems are eternal. Motivation is a visitor. It comes and goes when it pleases. But systems stay. They hold you together when your emotions are falling apart. The undisciplined live by feelings. The disciplined live by structure. You cannot build an empire on feelings. Feelings are fragile. One bad day, one insult, one moment of doubt, and your drive disappears. but systems protect you from yourself. Systems don't care if you're tired, upset, or uninspired. They command you to move forward anyway. That is how you force yourself to stay disciplined, by building a routine so solid that emotion has no power over it. Think of your goals as a fortress. Every routine, every plan, every boundary you create becomes a wall of protection around your peace. Without walls, the enemy of distraction walks right in. Without structure, your mind becomes a playground for procrastination. You must design your environment to serve your purpose, not sabotage it. If your phone is your biggest distraction, control it. If your mornings are chaotic, rebuild them. If your surroundings drain you, change them. Discipline is not just about willpower, it's about creating conditions that make willpower unnecessary. The more decisions you automate, the fewer battles you fight. The fewer battles you fight, the more energy you have for progress. Ask yourself, do I plan my day or does my day plan me? Because the difference between the ordinary and the extraordinary lies in preparation. The most peaceful people are not the most talented. They are the most organized. They wake up knowing exactly what must be done, and they follow through without negotiation. Every time you plan your next step, you silence confusion and chaos. And where there is order, there is peace. A person without structure is like a ship without a rudder, drifting wherever emotion blows. But the disciplined one has a compass. Their schedule, their routine, their standards. They don't ask, do I feel like it? They say, it's time. Let's go. That's the voice of power. You must understand. Discipline is a design problem before it's a desire problem. People fail not because they lack determination, but because they live in environments built for distraction. You can't expect to stay focused in a room full of noise. You can't expect to grow while surrounded by people who settle. You must engineer your life to reflect your purpose. Write your goals down. Set daily rituals. Protect your time blocks as if they were sacred meetings with destiny. Keep your vision visible. On your wall, on your mirror, on your phone screen, wherever your eyes fall first. Constant reminders anchor you to your mission. But most importantly, keep your system simple. Complexity kills consistency. You don't need 1,000 rules. You need a few powerful ones that you follow without fail. Wake up early. Move your body. Feed your mind. Work on your craft. Protect your peace. Repeat. Over time, repetition becomes identity. And identity never needs motivation. And here's the magic. Once your system is strong enough, discipline stops feeling like effort. It becomes your nature. You don't struggle to stay consistent. You simply are consistent. Because systems turn actions into habits, and habits turn humans into forces of nature. So build your system. Let it be your armor. Let it carry you through the storms of emotion and the chaos of distraction. Because when your system is stronger than your feelings, no setback can break you. And that, my friend, is how you protect your peace. Not by wishing for calm days, but by building a disciplined life that stays calm no matter the storm. Before the hands can move, the mind must obey. Before the body can act, the mind must lead. Every act of greatness begins with a single decision inside your thoughts. That is why discipline isn't built in the gym, in the office, or in the hustle. It's built in the silence of your own mind. Your mind is your master, or it is your servant, but it can never be both. Most people allow their minds to control them. Their thoughts wander, their emotions dominate, and their fears dictate their actions. But the disciplined person reverses the relationship. They train their mind to serve their mission, not sabotage it. The truth is, every dream that fails first in thought. Every promise that is broken first in the mind. Before the body gives up, the mind has already surrendered. That is why you must master the art of mental control, the power to command your thoughts and not be commanded by them. If you wish to force yourself to stay disciplined, begin here. Train your inner voice. That voice inside your head can either be your greatest ally or your most dangerous enemy. When it whispers, "You can't," reply, "Watch me." When it says, "You're tired," answer, "I'm not done." The moment you learn to respond instead of react, your life begins to change. Most people think discipline is about physical effort, waking up early, sticking to routines, staying focused. But none of that is possible if your mind isn't trained. The mind is the general, the body is the soldier. If the general is weak, the army falls. So start where real strength begins, in your thoughts. You must guard your mind like a treasure chest. Do not let negativity, gossip, or doubt rent space inside it. If you feed your mind with poison, your actions will become toxic. Protect your mental peace the same way you protect your goals, fiercely, unapologetically. And remember, focus is not given, it is earned. You earn it through silence, through meditation, through the daily practice of mental discipline. Every morning, take a few minutes to sit in stillness. Disconnect from noise. Breathe deeply. Remind yourself of who you are and what you are fighting for. Those moments of quiet reflection are not wasted time. They are mental sharpening. The undisciplined mind jumps from thought to thought, reacting to everything, attached to nothing. But the disciplined mind is calm. It observes without panic. It decides without hesitation. It knows when to act and when to wait. That's the power of inner peace. Clarity under pressure. When chaos surrounds you, your strength will not come from shouting louder, but from thinking clearer. The one who stays calm always wins, because calm is control, and control is discipline. Start talking to yourself like a leader. When your emotions rise, speak order. When your fears grow, speak faith. When doubt enters, speak destiny. Your words shape your world, and your mind listens to every one of them. If you constantly tell yourself, "I'm lazy," "I can't," "I'm not ready," your mind will make it true. But if you declare, "I am disciplined," "I am capable," "I am unshakable," your actions will follow. Understand this? Discipline begins in thought, but it ends in transformation. What you believe, you become. What you repeat, you reinforce. What you control, you conquer. So before you train your body, before you chase goals, before you demand more of the world, train your mind. Make it your servant. Make it your soldier. Make it your strongest weapon. Because a trained mind can build an empire out of nothing, and an untrained mind can destroy a kingdom in a day. Your peace, your purpose, your success, all begin in one place, the discipline of your mind. Logic will start your journey, but emotion will keep you moving when logic quits. You can reason your way into a plan, but only passion will carry you through the pain. The mind may understand what must be done, but only the heart has the strength to do it again and again. That is why discipline must be emotional, not logical. Every great achiever burns with a reason bigger than comfort. They don't stay disciplined because it makes sense. They stay disciplined because it matters. The logical mind says, "I should do this." But the emotional soul says, "I must do this." And that one word, must, changes everything. Ask yourself, what do I stand to lose if I stop? What pain will come if I break my discipline? What kind of person will I become if I keep giving in to excuses? Until discipline becomes personal, it will always remain optional. You can't force yourself to stay disciplined through logic alone, because logic seeks comfort. It will tell you to rest when tired, to pause when afraid, to give up when things get hard. But emotion, true, fairy, purpose-driven emotion, says, "I can't stop now. I owe too much to the person I'm becoming. Discipline becomes easier when your heart is on fire for something. It could be your family, your freedom, your future, or your own self-respect. Whatever it is, tie your actions to something sacred. When your goals have soul in them, no storm can make you quit. Think about the greatest victories of your life. They didn't happen when everything was perfect. They happened when you were tired, when everything told you to stop, but your heart said, keep going. That is emotional discipline, the kind that doesn't ask for permission. You see, logic looks for proof. Emotion creates it. Logic says, show me results. Emotion says, I'll create results. Logic calculates the cost. Emotion declares the reward. You can't win the long game of life with cold calculation. You win it with fire, hunger, and an unshakable reason why. When discipline feels like pain, remind yourself why you started. Picture your dream. See the life waiting for you on the other side of struggle. Hear the voice of your future self whispering, don't stop. Every day you stay disciplined, you move closer to me. That vision will carry you farther than motivation ever could. And here's something powerful. Discipline and emotion are not opposites, they are allies. Discipline gives your emotion direction. Emotion gives your discipline energy. Together, they become unstoppable. When you wake up at 5 a.m. and your mind says, stay in bed, remember your reason. When your friends distract you, remember your mission. When failure mocks you, remember the promise you made to yourself. Emotion gives discipline its soul. And without that soul, discipline becomes cold, mechanical, and temporary. The most peaceful people are not those who avoid emotion, but those who channel it. They've learned to turn pain into purpose, fear into focus, and doubt into drive. They use emotion as fuel, not as an excuse. So don't suppress your emotions. Harness them. Feel the fire of frustration and turn it into commitment. Feel the ache of disappointment and let it push you harder. Feel the hunger for success and let it silence every distraction. Because discipline without emotion is like a body without a heartbeat, structured but lifeless. Real discipline is alive. It breathes, it burns, it believes. And when you reach that level, when your emotions no longer control you but empower you, discipline stops being something you force. It becomes something you feel. It becomes who you are. In that state, peace is no longer something you search for. It lives within you, strong, still, and unbreakable. Because the moment your discipline and your emotion unite, you stop surviving the day and start commanding it. Everyone says they want freedom. Freedom to live how they choose. Freedom to follow their dreams. Freedom to be at peace. But few ever understand the truth freedom has a price, and that price is discipline. The undisciplined call discipline a cage, but in truth, it's the key. The weak see structure as restriction, but the strong see it as liberation. Because until you can control yourself, you will always be controlled by something else, fear, desire, laziness, emotion, or the opinions of others. Discipline is not your enemy, it's your sword, your shield, your compass. Look around. How many people live as prisoners of their habits? How many say they want success but are chained by distraction? They wake up tired, scroll for hours, complain of no time, and yet waste the very minutes that could change their lives. They think freedom means doing whatever they want, whenever they want. But that kind of freedom leads to chaos, regret, and noise. True freedom is not the absence of rules, it is mastery of self. It is the calm that comes from knowing you are in control. It's waking up knowing your life is directed by choice, not by chance. And that kind of peace, that kind of power, belongs only to the disciplined. Discipline is the bridge between intention and transformation. It's what separates wishful thinkers from warriors of action. When you keep your word to yourself, you build integrity. When you honor your schedule, you build trust. And when you repeat that trust daily, you build inner peace, the kind that no one can steal. But here's the truth: few can face peace demands a price. You must sacrifice distraction to gain focus. You must sacrifice laziness to gain momentum. You must sacrifice comfort to gain growth. You can't have both peace and pleasure at the same time. One will always destroy the other. Every time you break your discipline, you pay the price in guilt, anxiety, and regret. Every time you keep your discipline, you earn peace, clarity, and confidence. The cost is daily, but the reward is eternal. Ask yourself, what's truly worth your energy? Not every battle deserves your fight. Not every invitation deserves your yes. Protect your time like treasure. Protect your peace like royalty, because the moment you let chaos into your schedule, you surrender your throne. Discipline is not just about working hard, it's about working wisely. It's knowing when to move and when to be still. It's the ability to say no to noise and yes to purpose. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters with intention and consistency. When you are disciplined, your mind is clear, your heart is steady, and your soul is untouchable. You no longer chase peace. You become peace. You walk through storms with calm eyes. You face rejection without breaking. You fail without falling apart. Because you know nothing outside of you has power over the person who rules within. So if you want true freedom, not the shallow kind that disappears when life gets hard, but the lasting kind that endures through every season, master yourself. Discipline your thoughts. Discipline your actions. Discipline your reactions. The undisciplined live at the mercy of circumstances. The disciplined create circumstances. The undisciplined are ruled by emotion. The disciplined rule with intention. And here lies the ultimate truth: peace doesn't come when everything around you is calm. Peace comes when you remain calm while everything around you is chaos. That calm, that inner stillness, is the fruit of a disciplined soul. So protect your peace. Guard it with structure. Defend it with consistency. Strengthen it with purpose. Because the price of freedom is discipline, and the reward of discipline is peace. Discipline is not a burden, it is a blessing. It is not punishment, it is protection. Every act of discipline is a quiet declaration that says, my peace matters, my future matters, my purpose matters. Look back on your journey for a moment. Every step you took in discomfort, every sacrifice you made in silence, every time you fought your emotions and chose consistency, that was you building strength no one can take away. You've learned that comfort builds weakness, but challenge builds character. You've learned that emotion may move you, but structure sustains you. You've learned that true peace is not found in still waters. It's found in the storm when you remain unshaken. There will always be distractions. There will always be days when quitting looks easier, when your mind whispers, you've done enough. But that is the moment you must remember why you started. Because discipline is not about perfection, it's about persistence. It's about standing up one more time, fighting one more hour, believing one more day. Your peace is sacred. Protect it from people who drain your energy. Protect it from habits that waste your time. Protect it from your own doubts and fears. Because when you protect your peace, you protect your potential. One day, when you look back, you won't remember the comfort you sacrificed. You'll remember the strength you gained. You won't remember the nights you stayed up working. You'll remember the freedom those nights created. You won't remember the struggle. You'll remember the stillness that came after victory. So make yourself a promise, right here, right now. No matter what the world throws your way, you will remain disciplined. You will not break for pressure, bend for opinions, or bow to excuses. You will keep showing up with courage, with clarity, with calm. Because peace doesn't come to those who wait for it. It comes to those who work for it. It comes to those who protect it. Through focus, through faith, through discipline. And when you reach that level, when your life is governed not by chaos but by calm, not by emotion but by intention, you will finally understand the goal was never just success. The goal was peace, and discipline was the path all along.